Enable India presents
a short video on understanding the deaf and the ways to include your deaf colleague.
The production of the video is supported by Tech Mahindra Foundation. Welcome. Let us see examples of hearing impaired working in different jobs.
Some of them have moved to other job roles and companies.
Let us understand about hearing impairment. Let us learn how to introduce a person with disability. While talking about a person with any type of disability, refer to the person first and then the disability. Will you introduce him like this? This is Avinash. Poor thing, he is suffering from deafness. Or like this. Meet Avinash. He is my colleague.
He is deaf.
Let us learn how to correctly refer to a person with disability related to speech and hearing. Correct terms: person with disability, person with hearing impairment, person with hearing loss, person who is hard of hearing, person is deaf, person with speech impairment. Wrong terms: handicapped person, disabled, challenged person, special abilities, deaf and dumb, deaf mute, suffering from deafness. Let us understand about hearing impairment. This video will answer questions you have about persons with hearing impairment in 5 sections. In the first section, let us answer the question: do all deaf people have the same problem?
Each hearing impaired person has acquired their disability due to different reasons.
When I was born, I was normal.
Okay.
But when I was turning in third standard,
Okay.
I felt something fever, a heavy fever like this way.
Okay.
But I did not know what type of fever was that one.
Okay.
So when I went for checkup,
Okay.
doctor told I'm having a heavy fever.
Okay.
So they gave me that one the antibiotic known as penicillin.
Rudresh acquired hearing loss in childhood. Reason was adverse reaction to injection.
From people,
when I was, my mother was not feeling well.
Manasa is hearing impaired by birth. Reason being mother had illness during pregnancy.
Family, by birth, I am deaf. So what? How? Maybe my mother told me when my mother was using coil to make water, hot water. So that time, she got an electric shock, and she was admitted in the hospital. And due to that, I might be, having this disability.
Sareen is hearing impaired by birth. The reason was due to accident during pregnancy.
In the second section, let us answer the question: deaf people cannot hear, but they can talk, right? Each hearing impaired person is different in their levels of hearing, speech, and communication.
So lip reading became one solution.
Okay.
Because when I go to movie, when I see the movie, they won't face me the songs. So songs will be like this,
Like that.
so I never end song.
Okay. You see the song, but
yeah.
you can't
But,
hear the song.
but-
But you'll see the movie and
Movie, action,
Okay.
fashion, that one I'll be using this way.
okay.
Rudresh could hear and speak for some years. He has practiced speech and lip reading. He uses hearing aid to listen sounds. He can communicate in 2 languages.
First, sign language. Where? Chandrasekhar Institute. Okay. Okay. Oh, she has taken training in speech therapy in Chandrasekhar Institute of Speech Therapy.
Manasa cannot hear properly from birth. She did speech therapy. Her speech is not clear, but she can be understood. She learnt sign language. She uses hearing aid and can hear loud sounds and few words if people speak loudly.
When I was studying, I went for a therapy, but I did not understand anything. And a teacher used to teach me, but I did not understand anything. And they were not helping me a lot. So I did not learn, I did not undergo this speech therapy for a longer time.
Sareen tried speech therapy but cannot speak. He cannot lip read. He uses only sign language and writing to communicate. People with hearing impairment are diverse. Some may have better language if they could hear and speak language for some time, or some may know sign language. Some may have clear or unclear speech. Some may know one or two languages. Some may lip read. Some may be able to hear loud sounds or hear words. Use this knowledge to interact well with your hearing impaired colleague. Find out what they are comfortable with. Sign language, speech in which language, writing in which language, and so on. Check your disability quotient. Rudresh can speak well. So why cannot Manasa speak full sentences and Sareen cannot speak at all? A. Manasa and Sareen did not practice speech therapy well. B. Rudresh could hear and speak before, so it may have been easier to reacquire speech. C. It is hard for Manasa and Sareen to learn speech when they cannot hear it. D. Each hearing impaired person is different, just like all of us. Yes, each hearing impaired is different. It is extremely difficult to learn to speak when you have not heard it. For example, try to speak Chinese without hearing it.
In the third section, let us answer the question: do deaf people feel bad that they cannot hear? What do persons with hearing impairment feel about their disability?
I feel happy.
I feel happy.
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 Why? Because
Why? Because
accepted.
if example,
I become really
if I'm a non-disabled person.
naughty.
Okay.
Naughty.
Nonsense. People talk a lot of things on.
Become headache.
It becomes
I'm
headache.
very
I'm deaf. I can't hear anything. I'm free.
I'm free.
Mind free.
When I was kid, I did not understand about disability. So then slowly I started understanding about disability. So because I have seen other disabled people, then I believe that I know I am disabled. Slowly I have developed myself, and disabled are just like others.
In the fourth section, let us answer the question:
How to include your deaf colleague at work?
Kavya is hearing impaired. Kaito is good at work, but not very good at speaking English. So now that you understand Kaito and Kavya well, how do you communicate better with Kaito or Kavya? Simple. Remember what you already know. For example, we all use body language, gestures, facial expressions when necessary. Imagine that you are in a shopping mall inside a store. Your friend is also shopping and sees you from far. She makes a gesture to you to call her on the mobile. You want to say, "Okay, I will call you later." Now, how do you communicate that to her? Which of the following is the best way? You start talking and shouting even if she cannot hear you? Or you show your cell phone and move other hand in forward direction and lips mime the word later. Naturally, you will use body language, gesture and facial expressions. Learn to use these with Kaito and Kavya as well.
Let us see how you can include your hearing impaired colleague. We will see how to include in a team meeting, writing in simple English, and during training at work. There is also an example of how to enable your colleague to communicate independently. How will you make sure that your hearing impaired colleague understands the main points during a team meeting?
Let us assume Sareen is your team member. He is hearing impaired. Consider another scenario. You have joined a meeting via webcast. You are not able to hear the meeting because everybody is far away from the mic. You send chat messages to the team asking them to be louder in the webcast, but things do not improve. How will you or Sareen understand important points from meeting if there is no inclusion? Check your disability quotient. If you are not included in the meeting, what is the consequence? A. You miss critical information. B. You make mistakes. C. You have misunderstanding with the team. D. You feel left out from the team. Check your disability quotient. Watch the two videos where Praveen is including Sareen in the meeting by writing the information. Which do you think is the better way to write?
The last quarter results for us has not been that good. In fact, if you have been following the news, the financial markets have taken a beating, which means our margins have been hit and we are facing some problems. So, what does this mean for all of us? There will be no bonuses and increments this year. Hey, not to worry, but we will definitely come back very strong in the next 6 months. Just keep your efforts and focus intact and we shall bounce back. The last quarter results for us has not been that good. In fact, if you have been following the news, the financial markets have taken a beating, which means our margins have been hit and we are facing some problems. So, what does this mean for all of us? There will be no bonuses and increments this year. Hey, not to worry, but we will definitely come back very strong in the next 6 months. Just keep your efforts and focus intact and we shall bounce back.
Which do you think is the better way to write?
How can deaf communicate independently without an interpreter? Let us see an example. Thoman Xavier, District Manager, India.
So they came up and spoke to the retailer and said, we would also like to serve customers. But the challenge here is how are they going to communicate with the customers? And when we went back and spoke with Enable India, we came up with a unique solution of having the communication board.
So it says, Namaskara, I cannot speak or hear. Please help me to serve you. It has got local language also translated. And then once that is done, we also have given our safety signs. So if they want petrol, they will also write, if it is full tank, they'll tick it here, or they'll write amount, if it is 1000 rupees or 500 rupees, or the quantity, 10 liters, 5 liters.
How can a manager give feedback to his hearing impaired team member?
Your performance is good, but you need to improve upon your email.
Let us see another example. Imagine you have an important meeting and you are stuck in traffic because of heavy rain. How would you communicate this information? Would you communicate it like this? On account of heavy downpour today, our city's streets are getting awfully jammed. I might get delayed for our morning meeting. Or like this. Heavy rain today. bad traffic jam, late for meeting, maybe. How will you make sure that your hearing impaired colleague understand the main points during a training? Let us take an example. Please explain to your hearing impaired colleague pledging a property for a loan as a collateral security is called mortgage.
So, what is mortgage? Understood? You? No? You? You?
Yes.
Looks confused. Did you actually understand?
No.
No. Okay. What to do? Let me think. Okay. Okay. So now let's do a role play. Okay. Okay. You can keep these. Okay. And you can take this. And done. Okay. Ready? You both come. Do the acting, and I'll sit. Okay. Come. Oh, hi. Hello. Okay. Yeah. 10 lakhs. Add. Amount big. You have a house. Papers? God. Okay. Good. Let me make check. Wait. Karthik, 10 lakhs. Yeah. Hey, wait. You have to pay me 36,000. Okay. Good. All the best. Papers. Hi. Hello. Wait. Good. Thank you.
How do you include hearing impaired when there is training on the job? Demonstrate the work rather than speak or write. Make sure your colleague is watching you when you demonstrate. Ask your hearing impaired colleague to repeat the demo. This helps you to know if you have communicated effectively. Write key points of the process.
What are you thinking? Are you confident of including your hearing impaired colleague? Are you thinking, I have worries about including my hearing impaired colleague? Writing every word will take time. It would be easier if there was an interpreter. Sign language? I don't have time. They cannot hear, but they can read. So, why is English a big problem? Writing every word will take time. Reflect. Do you write every word when you are chatting or sending SMS? It would be easier if there was an interpreter. Reflect. Will you always have time to arrange for an interpreter? If you can communicate without an interpreter, will you be able to go to any part of the world and communicate with anybody? To talk to the hearing impaired, I must learn sign language. Reflect. If you know the alphabet, can you spell some simple words in sign language? Yes. Alphabets in Indian Sign Language are shown.
Note: different countries have different sign languages. Sign languages can vary from city to city.
Alphabets in American Sign Language are shown. I don't have time to learn sign language. Reflect. What would you like when you travel to another place where you don't know the language? How will you feel if nobody communicates to you? The person with hearing impairment can read, so I don't understand why English is a big problem. Reflect. How do you learn language? By listening and hearing the words.
We understand that it's hard to learn the full language just by reading. Let us understand how we remember language. Read the following words. Now, remember the two words you saw. Can you remember the second word easily? It is difficult to remember it. When you see the word R-E-S-P-E-C-T, there is a voice in your head which says respect. There was no voice for the second word. How do you include hearing impaired in work situations? Communicate simply and effectively. Learn and use sign language. Use buddy on rotation to include hearing impaired during meetings. Use interpreter for lengthy communication. Write or send SMS or use chat for quick communication. Type on the computer for fast communication. Use body language and gestures for basic communication.
In the final section, let us answer the question, what will I gain by learning to talk to deaf?
It is important to include all employees, hearing impaired and hearing employees. When employee is included, it leads to better communication and a better understanding. Hence, the employee feels part of the team. Hence, his or her performance improves and hence team performance improves. Team gets benefited accordingly. Let us understand the benefits of including your hearing impaired colleague. Firstly, their ability can be used. Secondly, explaining to the hearing impaired will improve your understanding of your work. When you include hearing impaired, you will learn to communicate in simple, effective ways. Instead of using big words, you will use simple language which is understandable to all. For example, rather than saying the safety checklist is to be adhered to thrice a day, you will say follow safety list 3 times in a day. When you include hearing impaired, everybody benefits. For example, to include the hearing impaired, the team lead writes points on the board which benefits the whole team. Learning to include hearing impaired is a lot of fun.
What are your next steps? Do you want to practice your sign language? Do you want to practice how to write in simple English? Sign up for Enable Academy course. Visit us at www.enableacademy.org for more information. Thank you.